In the belly of the beast. I'm sitting here with the CEO of PragerU, which we all know if you watched, CNN or, you saw anything from Vox, they are the new PBS. Which I think because Marissa Streit is the CEO, she's up here at my ranch because we're filming some stuff for PragerU Kids, right? And does that make me Elmo or
I think you're more of a big bird.
Big bird. Okay, good. All of a sudden, it doesn't feel so great. So they're claiming that you are becoming the new PBS because you're going after our kids. Can you just, first of all, do you get any money from the federal government?
We won't take a dollar from the government. That's in our mission.
Well, Stu, help me out. Doesn't that automatically disqualify you from being PBS?
It does. I would say it does. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think the big thing about PBS is they're taking our federal dollars and using it in ways that I don't necessarily agree with, and they can make money on their own. So I think the press misses what the problem is with PBS.
That's right. The press misses what the problem is with PBS. And I'll tell you, there's a much bigger problem with much of the press, unfortunately, now than their meltdown about PBS Kids versus PragerU Kids. And we're going to get into that later on in the show, having to do with Christopher Columbus. If you've been online at all in the last week, you will have seen lots of press about us. CNN, Vox, I believe BuzzFeed too, Impact Now, this about, the Christopher Columbus clip that won't go away. We're going to talk about it. That, of course, right there was Glenn Beck and our CEO, Marissa Streit, tackling just one of the gaslighting headlines that has happened again about us this last week. Today is Wednesday, August. I almost said October. It is not October. Do not let me get ahead of myself. Today is Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. Today we're talking about more, quote, terrified mainstream news headlines about PragerU Kids being poised to supply families with educational children's content now that the Corporation for Public Broadcasting will no longer receive funds from the government. Except I'm going to take the opportunity to go a little bit deeper with showcasing specific attacks about, you guessed it, the same ridiculous clip from our PragerU Kids Leo and Layla episode about Christopher Columbus, which we have already exposed the media's blatant lies about last year and the year before. And here we are again. So I'm going to be sharing this new round of attacks and disinformation. And I notice I did not say misinformation. I said disinformation because disinformation is what happens. If you look it up online, disinformation is what happens when an outlet intentionally puts forth lies about anyone. I'm Jill Simonian. Most of you know me, mom of teens, co-creator at PragerU Kids here. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X. Let me know where you're watching from. If you haven't already, subscribe for free at PragerUKids.com for wholesome videos and lessons that teach our children kindergarten through 12th grade, history, good character, financial literacy, and much more. And yes, all of the resources are free. We say that every time because we are so blessed and thankful from all of our supporters. Again, just like our CEO said, we do not take money from the government. So we thank our supporters for allowing us to continue to make our content for you, to amplify truth. And I will say, too, before we go, right now there is a triple match happening. So if you donate $1, it turns to $3. If you donate $5, it turns to $15, $100, $300. I'm not going to do more math for you. Triple match happening right now. Okay, so before we jump in to this egregious disinformation versus misinformation about PragerU Kids and our Christopher Columbus episode on our Leo and Layla animated series for 3rd through 5th grade, I want to share with you what's going on in Illinois. There's a lot happening in Illinois. Drop a comment. If you're watching YouTube, Facebook, X, tell me if you're in Illinois right now, because this caught my attention. This back-to-school season, Illinois parents are on fire in the best way possible over there. Illinois, the state of Illinois, has decided officially that every single student in public schools, grades 3rd through 12th grade, 3rd grade is about 8 years old, remember, will get mental health screenings once a year, beginning in the 2027-28 school year. So let's look at this plan. This is on the Illinois State Board of Education's website. This is titled School Wellness, Mental and Behavioral Health Screening. This is pegged as a path to readiness, implementation of universal mental health screening in Illinois schools. If you're watching us right now, you will see again that this is from the Illinois State Board of Education, isbe.net. This is straight from the source on their website. They're talking about universal mental health screenings, how they can serve as powerful tools to ensure that students receive support regardless of background and circumstances. As a mom, all of these words sound wonderful, right? We want our children supported. I want to continue down, and you can look this up on your own independently. I just wanted to bring this to light here and discuss. Mental health screenings, this page says, shall be offered by all school districts to students enrolled in grades 3 through 12 at least once a year, beginning with the 27-28 school year, and provided the state offers free access to screening tools and associated technology. And we go on to see some of the previous initiatives. Children's Behavioral Health Transformation Initiative that happened in January 2024. They have a landscape plan. They have a Public Act 103-0885 from August 2023. They have a blueprint for transformation from February 2023. So this has been a long time plan in the making. So what I want to do, there's a lot of issues with this. Again, mental health screenings, support for students sounds wonderful. All parents, we want that. My kids used to be in public school, they're now in private school. We want that across the board. There's so many issues with this. And I found a perspective that really resonated with me on many levels. One of the issues, of course, is overreach into parental rights. And the other issue is, frankly, a data breach disaster. I want to go to this article now, which was posted on Jack Posobiec's, and I hope I pronounced your name correctly, Jack, his Human Events website. This article, op-ed if you will, is written by a woman by the name of Soad Tabrizi. I actually follow her on Instagram. She's a licensed marriage and family therapist in 8 states. And again, this is on the website humanevents.com. And the title of this opinion, written by this licensed marriage and family therapist in 8 states, says, J.P. Pritzker's, that is the governor of Illinois, mandated mental health screenings for school children is a data grab, not compassion. And this is an article from August 19th, so literally like one day ago, yesterday. Let's go through the article a bit. On July 31st, 2025, the governor of Illinois signed into law SB 1560, which requires all public schools in Illinois, mind you, to provide mental health screenings to students grades 3rd through 12th. The law is meant to provide early identification and intervention so those who are struggling to get the help they need can get it as soon as possible. That's information from the governor himself. And this, again, is going to begin in the 2027-28 school year. School districts in Illinois must offer screenings to students at least once a year. The Illinois State Board of Education has until September 1st, 2026 to develop the model and the procedures and the guidance. So as of now, there are no guidelines on who will perform these screenings. That decision is left to the Illinois State Board of Education. Again, I am reading from the words of Soad Tabrizi. And she asks in this article, what could possibly go wrong? And she goes on to explain. So she explains, kids and adolescents are masters of adaptation. The need to belong, to fit in, and to gain the attention of peers is especially strong beginning in grade 3. We've already seen trends like neurodivergent identities and trans labels explode since the COVID lockdowns pushed kids onto screens. Now, kids brag about being on the spectrum because almost anyone can claim to be neurodivergent when they're simply quirky or different. Even some autistic youth youth have gravitated towards trans identities because that community offers acceptance for being unconventional. These are the words of Soad Tabrizi, and she really does articulate this well. So Soad, if you are watching, thank you for your thoughts. Now, she goes on to say that the same pattern is potentially likely going to happen with these mental health screenings that will be imposed on every single student beginning in grade 3 in the state of Illinois next year. She's saying that students quite possibly are going to be thrilled to walk away with a label because it makes them cool, unique, validated. It makes them special. And, many of us here on the PragerU Kids team are not fans of allowing kids to feel like victims. So this is a problem. And any of you who also happen to be a fan of Abigail Schreier, the author of the book Bad Therapy, Abigail has often warned parents and educators and her colleagues also, and therapists across the board, saying, be careful not to encourage children to ruminate on being a victim, being different, because we know that the more that children ruminate on something, the more obsessed about it they become. And it's really dangerous to mental health for kids in the long run. There's also, in this article on human events, I want to point out something that Ms. Tabrizi, the licensed family and child therapist in 8 different states, I mind you, I want to share with you something very important that she also brings to light. The problem of these mental health screenings being a data grab. So read the article if you're able, but here's how she lays it out. In 2022, Governor Pritzker of Illinois launched the Children's Behavioral Health Transformation Initiative to address long wait lists, fragmented systems, and overwhelmed families. She then goes on to explain how the state contracted with Google Public Sector to build an organization called Beacon on Google's cloud. And she says this organization that was designed to sort of help with the wait lists and the fragmented systems for kids who were needing mental health. She says that this beacon was built on Google's cloud, which was powered by AI. And under SB 1560, in Illinois, psychiatric hospitals are now required to funnel discharged children into Beacon to ensure continuity of care, which means that children's most sensitive data will be processed through an AI-driven system owned and operated by Google. Not only does this open the door to hacking and data sales, it cements the state's partnership, in this case Illinois, with big tech to monitor and control families. And so it also goes on to point out in this article, the big problem that we should all, not a problem, but the reality that we need to remember, children are not wards of the state. Children are the responsibility of parents to be nurtured, raised, and supported at home, not handed over, and their data certainly not handed over to bureaucrats and corporations. So the issue specifically, one of the issues specifically with this Illinois mental health screenings mandate that is slated to go into effect the 2027 school year, the issue is that you are now compromising the data of presumably all the children in the Illinois public schools, and you're handing that data over to the state. Big problem. One of the organizations, if you are in Illinois and you are dealing with this, or maybe you are unaware, drop a comment, let me know what you think. One of the organizations that is awake in all of this is called Awake Illinois, and I just want to give them a shout out and applause and gratitude for the wonderful work that they're doing to inform Illinois parents about what is happening. Let's go now to, I'm going to take us to the X feed for Awake Illinois. If you are an Illinois parent, follow them. It's at Awake_IL for Illinois. The organization is called Awake Illinois. They have crafted these incredibly helpful opt-out forms. And they have several opt-out forms for various issues happening in Illinois schools on their website. So this opt-out form page that we're looking at, I believe, are we looking at X right now? I believe we are, yes. We're looking at the X feed for Awake Illinois. There is a new form for school mental health screening. It's an opt-out. And if you look at if you are an Illinois parent, take a look at this form. They also have Awake Illinois, awakeil.com, their website, if we can go to that website now, also has all sorts of opt-out forms. And I'll scroll through them if we can. There we go, right now. I see them on the screen right now. The opt-out forms obviously are the mental health screening opt-out form. There is a Liberty Counsel form. There is a form to opt out of pronouns and gender counselor discussions. Basically something that parents can fill out saying if your child requests different pronouns and or communicates behaviors akin to gender dysphoria at school, please. I do not, as a parent, you can sign this form to make sure that you are informed about this and that you are not allowing them to discuss this with counselors at school in a secret situation. I encourage you all in Illinois, check out Awake Illinois, awakeil.com, not only for this new mandated mental health screening that is of top of mind in conversation for Illinois parents and families, but for all of the opt-out forms that you can get your hands on to just really take control of the education of your children and the wellness of your children. You want to know the best wellness center a kid could ever ask for? Their home, right? The home is the best wellness center that a kid could ever ask for, with family. Moms, dads, brothers, sisters, grandparents, aunts, uncle, whoever your family is who pays attention, gets involved. And, one thing that we do here at PragerU Kids is we do believe that the home and church or synagogue or, wherever you happen to worship, if you do have religious beliefs, we believe that truly is the best wellness center for families. And we encourage families to pay attention. I know it takes time, but one way to do it, one way that I do it personally, is enjoying books, content with my own kids. You could do it through reading, just an idea. Reading with your child, even if that child is in high school, get some snacks, get some cake, get some popcorn, ice cream, anything, you name it. I have young teenagers now, and you better believe I do get the popcorn and the ice cream, and I say, get your snack, come here, I want 15 minutes with you or 20 minutes with you, and we gather around the table and we read something together, or we watch something together and then we talk about it. Do something together and talk about it. Our PragerU Kids summer reading list has options for you. It is not too late to tackle some of our summer reading list offerings that we have. If we can bring it up on the screen, our summer reading list. Yes, I know we're back to school, but in my book, summer does not officially end until Labor Day, so I am talking about our summer reading list. If we scroll down on the book, we have all sorts of offerings. Here's some of the hard copies. The Tip-Off is our debut novel for kids. It's for young readers, I would say middle readers. First book in the Chronicles of Jonathan Spencer series. It's about a middle school kid, Jonathan, who starts school, doesn't quite feel like he can fit in, plays basketball. This is a great book, especially for our boys to start reading. It's 250 pages. It's a chapter book. It's our very first. We're very proud of it. Also on our summer reading list, we have, of course, our Trailblazers series. I'm just showing you the books so that you can get an idea of the quality, and that, when we make a book here at PragerU Kids, we really do mean it. We really do mean it. So get in on spending time with your kids. The greatest wellness center for kids is, in fact, their home. A lot of these books, too, if we scroll down on the website for the kindergarten through third graders, they're short, they're sweet, they're educational, they're appealing. Some of the books for middle schoolers, I do want to add, are about global issues. You can start talking and debating with your kids. They're better than any wellness mental health check that any school can impose. So again, if you are in Illinois, I encourage you to check out Awake Illinois organization. I encourage you to get informed and active regarding these mandatory mental health screenings that have now been agreed upon to take place across the state of Illinois beginning in 2027. Not great for education, in my personal opinion, but you be the judge. Leave me a comment. Okay, let's move on now. Let's move on to what I kicked off this parent alert with. The newly invigorated hit pieces about PragerU Kids lately. This is not new to us. These hit pieces have regenerated again by the media thanks to us being in the spotlight as a poised replacement for the now defunded Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which likely will affect PBS Kids shows, such as Sesame Street, so on and so forth. Headline after headline about our Leo and Layla animated series featuring a particular episode that teaches children about Christopher Columbus has resurfaced. I'm gonna let our CEO Marissa Streit and Glenn Beck tee up this renewed Christopher Columbus conflict for us. Let's take a look at the clip right now. I want our CEO to explain this.
I saw somewhere, I read, they were accusing you guys of PragerU is dismissing slavery and saying it's no big deal. And I'm like, on what planet, in what parallel universe is PragerU saying that?
Well, what they're saying is we made a video that teaches about Christopher Columbus. Mm-hmm. And we basically paraphrased what he would have said to two young kids. And from Christopher Columbus's perspective, he probably thought that slavery was okay because that's what he did. And so because we had the cartoon, Christopher Columbus, say, oh, I think slavery is okay. Right. And then the kids responded back to him in this show that we made, well, actually, slavery is abhorrent. It is a horrible thing.
Right.
We know today that it was a terrible thing that the world engaged in slavery. And then Christopher Columbus in this cartoon responds and says, oh, wow, I didn't have that perspective. I didn't know. Uh-huh. That is why we are being attacked, because we are paraphrasing what Christopher Columbus would have said. And so what does the silly media do? I mean, it's completely cuckoo. They're claiming that PragerU is claiming that slavery was okay because the character in our cartoon, that character Christopher Columbus, said it was okay.
About our Christopher Columbus video. I think the running count specific to this headline is 16, maybe 17, 18 headlines dedicated to, and that's not counting Instagram commentary, of course. I'm talking about mainstream media outlets with dedicated headlines on their website, on television, online, talking about how PragerU Kids has put out a video where Christopher Columbus says slavery is no big deal. One of the first of those headlines was with Now This, I believe, and their Instagram is Impact. So I want to go now, producer Chase, to the Instagram slides that I shared. I want to show you what these are. You can read the headline there on the screen. And let's go ahead now and swipe to slide 5, because I want to show you the video that is continuously shared. Slide 5, I believe we're back one. There we go. Let's run this sound up.
Do those things regularly. So, these people in your time who think it was a peaceful paradise are misinformed. Or lying.
Yeah, but what about slavery? You didn't deny that.
Deny? No. Slavery is as old as time and has taken place in every corner of the world, even amongst the people I just left. Being taken as a slave is better than being killed, no? I don't see the problem. Some of
And
the
then you
native
see,
folks from
okay,
where
thank you. And then you see that clip stops right after, right? So I'm going to show you the rest of what that clip says, but all the mainstream outlets who are bringing forth this headline saying that PragerU Kids is a dangerous replacement, because of the PBS cuts and all that, they're only using that clip. I want to go now to MSNBC. Just to, paint the picture again. MSNBC has been trying with all their might, I gotta give them credit, they've been trying with all of their might to wrongfully abuse this particular snip of a clip in this video since 2023. And they did it again with their latest hit on this on August 17th on MSNBC's television show, The Weekend Primetime. I want to run this clip right now just for you to see. It's a little long, but bear with me. Let's take a look.
Donald Trump has attacked and successfully defunded public media and continues to wage an all-out culture war on higher education. But for years, Trump allies have also been eyeing a self-described pro-American kids edutainment company called PragerU. And recently, the Trump administration has been cozying up to it. PragerU was founded by controversial conservative talk show host Dennis Prager. His team creates kid-friendly cartoons and patriotic content that extols conservative values. And despite its name, it's not a university or any kind of accredited academic institution. Still, the White House hosted the nonprofit in June to unveil its so-called Founders Museum, and Education Secretary Linda McMahon lavished praise on it. And as of today, 10 states have approved PragerU as an educational source. And to give you an idea of the kind of history PragerU promotes to children, we want to show you this clip from a cartoon that shows kids traveling back in time to speak to Christopher Columbus and learn about slavery.
Slavery is as old as time and has taken place in every corner of the world, even amongst the people I just left. Being taken as a slave is better than being killed, no? I don't see the problem. I'm now sailing back to Spain.
And then the following clip was our next clip that I am going to share with you. So that when MSNBC showed the clip, they again cut it off at being slave is better than being killed. That was the last soundbite, and then they went back to the panel. So earlier I said that MSNBC has been doing this since 2023. We're now in 2025 now, right? I say 2023 because the fact of the matter is that MSNBC visited us here at this office, in this very room, and around all of our offices in the fall of 2023. And the same host, Antonia Hilton, who was on hosting that panel, she was the reporter here, and she was absolutely lovely. She was absolutely lovely with us. And she came here, she questioned all of us, Dennis, Marissa, myself, all of us. She questioned us about this episode. She questioned us about our content. We challenged her to watch the full episode to understand the actual messaging. We challenged the whole team. We said, have you watched the actual episode? The staff at NBC and the same reporter who you viewed there showing that truncated clip, the misleading clip, she said that she did watch the entire episode, yet MSNBC continues to deceptively show the fraction of the clip to drive the same false narrative. Why is this happening? I used to work in television news, like legitimate places, before I came here to PragerU. Journalism is about transparency and truth. I don't think that they have to agree with our conservative values. We are a conservative nonprofit organization. No one is mandating them to agree with this at all, but to blatantly lie for 2 years about the exact same clip and pluck a snip of a statement without continuing the explanation afterwards is a blatant lie. This has been discussed and exposed at full, for its full meaning. And the fact that this continues to happen is insane. So I ask, we're accused wrongfully accused of, the propaganda, that word. Who's really doing the propaganda? We have nearly 20 mainstream outlets that have pushed forward this clip once again, and they pretty much all have identical headlines, and they show the exact same clip, and they cut it off at the exact same spot. Who's promoting the propaganda? Just for fun, I'm going to show you the full clip from this episode. I'm warning you, this is about 5 minutes long, but I want to run the full clip here, so it is here with full transparency in the spirit of honoring the roots of truthful journalism. Let's run the full clip. I might comment in between, but here it is. I'm giving it to you, and this clip, this whole episode, again, it's on our website, full transparency. So let's go ahead and run the clip.
I'm now sailing back to Spain to show off all kinds of amazing things I found and tell of the wonders of the lands I've seen.
Okay, now that we have the backstory, we've got some questions. There are a lot of people in our time upset about how you acted once you found all these amazing things in these new lands.
Ah, that's right. You said I'm controversial.
You have no idea.
I've got nothing to hide. Ask away.
Okay, first, your sailing plan was right and all your doubters were wrong?
Well, they were wrong that my crew and I were going to die because after 10 weeks of sailing west, we spotted land.
Your trip was 10 weeks?
You can't even handle a 2-hour car ride.
Ah, greatness requires patience.
You know the land you found wasn't India, right?
Really? Caramba! I suspected something was a little off, but my calculations suggested I had reached India, or at least the Far East.
So what happened when you met the native people, who obviously discovered the land before you did? The Indians?
The first people we met...
Pause. Who obviously discovered the land before you did. So again, I just want to pause here before we continue. This episode is created for 3rd through 5th graders. This is an introduction for who Christopher Columbus is. They're setting up his journey, how it was a long journey, through historical storytelling. Again, we have credentialed teachers who have been California credentialed teachers here in-house creating these episodes. We have fact checkers with their masters in history who taught history classes across the country as a credentialed teacher in schools. This is, the backstory of how this episode was made. Let's continue.
That were great. The Taino. They were peaceful, curious, and really helpful. I could tell right away that they were highly intelligent. They even were able to quickly mimic everything we said to them. I ordered my men to treat them well.
I'm sorry, Mr. Columbus, but I heard at school that you spoiled paradise and you brought slavery and murder to peaceful people.
Leo?
Sorry. It's what I read and heard at school.
Caramba! Those are some accusations. The place I discovered was beautiful, but it wasn't exactly a paradise of civilization, and the native people were far from peaceful.
But you just said the Taino were peaceful.
They pretty much are, but there are other tribes who aren't. The Taino I had met had cuts and scars and bruises all over them. I asked why, and they told me about the Caribs, who are vicious, warring cannibals.
Cannibals? Like they
Eat people, see.
Whoa.
Right? Hey, all the things that are bad in the world I come from, jealousy, lying, murder, war, it all exists in the land I just found too. But in Europe, we draw the line at things like eating people and human sacrifice. Some of the native folks from where I just left do those things regularly. So, these people in your time who think it was a peaceful paradise are misinformed. Or
Okay,
lying.
pause.
Yeah, but what about
I'm
slavery?
going to say this, if we can pause. So we are often attacked for sugarcoating and not learning about the past and not teaching children. Is this again? This entire episode is based on historical truth. So we're not sugarcoating that. Continue.
You didn't deny that.
Deny? No. Slavery is as old as time and has taken place in every corner of the world, even amongst the people I just left. Being taken as a slave is better than being killed, no? I don't see the problem.
Well, in our time, we view slavery as being evil and terrible.
Ah, magnifico! That's wonderful! I am glad humanity has reached such a time. But you said you're from 500 years in the future? How can you come here to the 15th century and judge me by your standards from the 21st century? For those in the future to look back and do this is, well, estúpido.
Are you calling me dumb?
Certainly not. I can tell you're a very smart young lady. But the idea of throwing away the past because of your present values is... Listen, I love and am thankful for the ancient Greeks, but they did lots of things that here in 1493 I do not agree with. They permitted lifestyles and worshiped gods that, as a Christian, I think is very bad. But that doesn't mean I shouldn't respect and honor all the incredible and amazing things they did.
So, good and bad is based on the time you live in?
That is a great question. I told you I knew you were smart. Some things are clearly bad, no matter when they happen. But for other things, before you judge, you must ask yourself, what did the culture and society of the time treat as no big deal? Not everyone can time travel as you do and see how normal becomes very not normal.
Some things are, some things aren't. Sounds complicated.
It is, and so is life. And history can be too. If people in your time want to celebrate me for being a perfect hero, then they are very mistaken. Only my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is perfect, and I hope to spread his teaching to all the lands I find that don't know his name. But if people in your time want to celebrate the guts I had to get this journey approved, start it, survive it, and get back to tell about it, well, that seems pretty good for any time and age.
I think you're right. Thanks for answering our questions, Mr. Columbus.
You're a courageous explorer, and you've given me a lot to think about.
Okay, so there we go. That was mostly the entire episode. Thanks if you're still watching. Hey, appreciate you. Again, Leo and Layla animated series was created for 3rd through 5th grade. I invite anyone to debate and question whether or not they would have written that particular episode differently. How far to push past the age parameters for kids under 10 years old. Another point worth mentioning, I guess the main point worth mentioning, you saw some of the headlines and the truncated clips that the majority of the mainstream media that's been attacking us over this episode. Again, you saw the truncated clip, what they played and where they stopped it. I showed you the full episode I showed you the full clip in its entirety. So you be the judge. But the most in question I want to bring up, the point. Since the first few articles that, resurfaced this clip were vilifying the presentation of this video, I have seen dozens more headlines from unrelated outlets parroting the exact same talking points and using the exact same cut-up clip. So again, we're being accused of propaganda, but mainstream media, unrelated outlets are seemingly using the exact same clip without any further deep dives, without any further exposure. I've seen so many clips that literally end on the exact same phrase that leaves uninformed viewers wondering, oh my goodness, are they saying that, are they saying that this abhorrent slavery thing was okay? No, of course not, because if you watch the rest of the episode, you're going to see. So who is really pushing the propaganda? The entire episode, what I just showed you, is free on our website for full viewing, for full access, for any news media outlet to use in its entirety, or choose another clip, or say, you know what, they did that wrong, but actually that part actually makes sense. Who's pushing the propaganda? I welcome your comments on Facebook. Let's check out Facebook right now to see what people are saying today. Okay, let me scroll down. Okay. Sal, PragerU needs mental health screening for trying to point out highlights on what was great about slavery. Sal, I hope you stuck around and enjoyed the rest of this, because you have been uninformed about what is really happening here. Someone dropped a bunch of cuss words. Okay, let's see. Why aren't you protesting slavery ongoing today in some countries? Actually, we are. If you follow us, you would know that we do consistently. Let's see. And Adina, here's a comment on Facebook. Can I ask what safeguards are in place to make sure these screenings truly help kids and don't end up labeling or hurting them long term? As a parent, that's what I keep wondering. I'm guessing that this was a question about our previous discussion at the top of this about Illinois mental health screenings. That's the question that Illinois parents are asking. They're saying, what safeguards are there? This is, there haven't been any guidelines. There's no real plan to protect kids, to make sure that this does in fact help them. I encourage you to connect with Awake Illinois. It's an organization that we are not affiliated with at all. I am just an observer and a faraway fan from some of the work and the options and the support and information that they give parents. I'm trying to find more comments. I am so over mainstream media. That's from Kimberly. Kimberly, I share your sentiments, and it's very difficult for me to say that. Mainstream media, news headlines, outlets like MSNBC, BuzzFeed, Vox, these are all outlets that continue to position themselves and fool people into thinking that they are journalists offering truth and transparency, but really they are offering a spin on what they feel like at any given moment. I mean, that's what it seems like to me. And, unfortunately, if we're talking about PBS, I will offer this. I used to be a great fan of PBS, and I said this on the last Parent Alert. My kids watched PBS. I grew up on PBS. I actually used to, for a short time, I worked freelance as a PBS host before I came here to PragerU Kids. I don't think I said that before, but I had a long time affection with PBS Kids. But around 2021, we just started noticing that PBS was, and is particularly many PBS shows, Sesame Street in particular, one of my all-time favorites. It was heartbreaking to see them pushing forth age-inappropriate messaging to kids without, many times parental knowledge or consent. And the fact that they got their money from the government was really troubling. We do not receive funds from the government. Part of our business plan is that we do not receive funds from the government. We are not funded by the government. So the fact that we are funded by supporters, we're very grateful for. Anyway, that's it for today on Parent Alert. If you haven't already, subscribe to PragerUKids.com for free. New releases delivered to your inbox for your kids. Don't miss an episode. U.S. and world history, American values, good character, civics, financial literacy. Links to our videos and books that I shared in the title and description of this Parent Alert. There's links to those wherever you're watching from, so you can check them out. And I always encourage you to ask, who is pushing propaganda? Always ask that question. It's good to question. It's good to debate. And I always say, I may not agree with what you have to say, but I'll always defend your ability to say it. So thank you for your support. Again, we're having a triple match happening right now to support what we're doing, to continue educating and inspiring young people to think, to examine, to debate, to seek the truth. Triple match happening right now, PragerU.com, so that we can combat these false and misleading mainstream narratives trying to erase the truth. Thank you for your support. See you next time. Bye.